Hello everyone, my name is Olumide Areo, and I must say, first off, I'm an impact contributor, and over time I've been able to grow in self-leadership, and social entrepreneurship is my story. Yes. While I was part of the Enactus program in my undergraduate study, I joined a group of young people who wanted to use business to solve real-life problems, especially problems that tackle the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I was someone who just wanted to be an academician. I just wanted to get good grades. However, the Enactus program shaped me. That is why till date it is part of my story. How do I mean? I started understanding that young people are resourceful. Young emerging talents, they could transform their ideas into something tangible that could impact their immediate environment. But however, I was the guy who could listen to people and help them move from idea to impact. That is why it has been part of my story. Entrepreneurship, to me, a lot of people would say you have to have an organization, you have to be doing something good, you need to have a product. To me, you can be the product. So social entrepreneurship to me is first self-leadership, understanding that leadership is about giving to people, how you could contribute into somebody else's growth. So when I was part of the Enactus program, I joined the group and I realized that there was no viable growth within the Enactus program in my university. What did I do? I took an initiative. I just saw an opportunity online that had to do with Holt Prize on Campus Accelerator. I decided to start and pioneer the first Holt Prize on Campus Accelerator. What was my role? My role was simple. Bring students who had bright ideas to pitch in front of judges and bring up resources, media, venture capitalists to help them grow. I had a lot of struggle because young people, as at the time when I started the on-campus accelerator, they could not connect to my vision. They felt different about it. Then I realized I had to work with people, I had to collaborate. I had to find professors. I remember Professor Muhktar Haliru was a faculty advisor then. He was someone who served as a mentor. On the long run, I realized that when people go and connect with your vision, they could easily adopt what you want to see as change. So I started bringing people along. It wasn't a self thing. It became a community-based project. And I'm a project-based person. If you look into my activities, I do not have a single organization till date. That's because I've discovered that upon building projects, I could make impact and growth on a steady rate. And I discovered that part of me, and that has been my story till today. Thank you very much for that question. That question is one of the questions that have shaped my self-leadership on the long run. I remember in 2017 when I started the Holt Prize on Campus event at Bio University in my school in Nigeria. And what transformed my life was seeing how people's ideas could move to pitching stage and could move to an opportunity to go abroad. What was I saying? Or what am I saying rather? We had 12 teams in 2018 when the whole project materialized. A student pitched and they won the first on-campus event. So we had the first on-campus event in my school. The Dean of Student Affairs at the time didn't know what was going on, so there was no support. However, I did something phenomenal. The press came to me, the newspaper press came to me and said, how would you describe this event? I thanked the university, I thanked the Dean of Student Affairs, even if they had no significant contribution thereabout. So in the morning on the newspaper the next week, the Vice Chancellor saw the publication of his name and the university. Who is this student that is placing the university on newspaper that they do not know about? I was summoned, they called me, and we had a lot of discussions around how the Holt Prize on Campus event could be a brand for the university. not knowing that a lot of young people had been impacted by just that single act. My professor, once again, Professor Muhktar Haliru, nominated me for the Diana Award, because the Diana Award is not an award that you achieve or you receive for just an act. It is an award that is being achieved for vision, for humanitarian action, and is globally recognized by the Duke of Cambridge and the Duke of Sussex. So when I saw the nomination, I didn't even know what was going on. However, when people see value in you, when people see that you could do things that impact others, they are also ready to also contribute to you. If you remember, I mentioned the fact that when you put giving first, certainly it could go a long way in terms of impact. That is my great achievement today, and that has rubbed off on a lot of activities that I've done in terms of even here at the EM6P. Working with great minds in terms of putting the university also at the Kellogg Morgan Stanley Challenge recently in April in New York. When I was in the university, I mentioned I just wanted to have grades. I went to an interview once, and the interviewer, after successfully pitching all of my theoretical knowledge, the interviewer asked me, "What other practical knowledge do you have?" I said none. Funny enough, it was an internship. I discovered that there was a lady that was in my class. Her name was Deborah. Deborah got the job interview. She got in the internship, and I kept asking myself, what did Deborah do? But Deborah was somebody who was really, really social. She was really active in class. But however, outside class, she was doing extraordinary things. I learned from Deborah. I said, if Deborah could be successful in class and also be successful in social activities, I picked up that learning outcome and began to implement. So I said, I have to do things. So if you really, really want to shape your personality, you need to keep doing things. You need to push yourself. And I'm really happy that pushing myself today has also impacted other people, because you think you're doing yourself good. However, you rub that good deed, that business of social good, you rub it off on other people. And that is the ripple effect. That is the impact. So, because the impact is not just about numbers, it's about how you change people's mindset. That when you give back, it has a way to come back to you in the long term. And that has shaped the kind of person that I am today in leadership and beyond. A lot of young people that I've discussed with, even in webinars and on a one-to-one basis, I usually just say, you do not know who you are. You need to ask yourself, who am I? It is a very important question. Until you solve that question, who are you? You may not attain to the level of height where you stretch yourself to achieve your greatest potential. So when I begin to ask myself, who am I? What can I do? At what extent should I be able to achieve beyond what I have done today? You need to do things. Just like a startup. A startup cannot really know the products that would make them have a long-term impact, or put them out there until they do a lot of things. There are tons of examples of organizations that started off with a different product but ended up with a particular product that placed them on the market edge. So what would I tell you? Keep doing things. Keep discovering yourself by asking yourself one question. Who am I? When you finally find the answer to that question, that is it. You would go beyond your potential. You would find that person that truly permeates true impact. And when you place impact first, other things will be added onto you. Thank you.